Okay. Yo, there's like a certain look of a male feminist, and I'm gonna just say all of those dudes check the check mark. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just more effeminate. I don't know. It's just a look. When you talk about the color hair girls, they have a certain type of look and they have a certain type of ideology that goes with that look. I can't put my finger on it, but when I look at one, I'm like, yeah.
If you agree, step forward. Women have more privileges today than men.
It's a trap!
Maybe it's just me, but I feel like assuming that, like, y'all are oppressed. Like, y'all are, like, in the kitchen oppressed.
I went back and forth on this one, thinking about the difference between more and different. I think women have distinctly different privileges than men have, but with this new feminist movement that is arising, more of the third, fourth wave, we are finding, I think, that women are placed and pedestalized above men in a lot of ways. There's affirmative action hiring and scholarships where women, sometimes even regardless of academic standing or achievement, are prioritized above men. But men also have different privileges that they get to access. I struggle to say more, but I think I do agree with the feminist movement now there is more.
If you are born into this life with a vagina, you inherently have 10 times more privilege than a man. From the time they are little, girls are always like doted on and you're so pretty and cute.
Very coddled.
They're coddled,
Yeah.
right? As they should be, you know? We want that feminine, nurturing energy in them. You can kind of be a degenerate woman and have a hot body and be a millionaire on OnlyFans. Yes. Men don't have that privilege. Now, women don't have to like work to get a guy. They're just hot. And then guys come to them and spend their resources on them. A man has to prove himself. He has to build a body. He has to make money. He has to build influence.
Well, I say that women have more privileges today than men. Yes, there are certain aspects of feminism that I definitely do agree with, but I feel like these days it's more of like, we got everything that we ever wanted, but what else can we get? And it's very much like we want it all versus where I used to think it was, where it's like we want equality. Now it's just like a hostile takeover. We want everything.
I can't think of a single thing that I don't have that a guy has, or
that they only have. I would say the one thing I would
have.
say is the safety thing. That's the only thing that I would say is that women are disadvantaged from, by nature, women are not as physically strong. I mean, you're physically strong, but as physically strong.
I'll take it.
These great biceps. And men just are.
Even with those biceps, she can get taken out easily. Growing up, me and my brothers, we used to fight because I'm really close with my brothers. And we used to have wrestle parties. We're basically almost like sumo wrestling. You have a line in the sand and you have to push your opponent across that line. And whoever it is the winner. I tried to do that maybe a year ago and I haven't tried since. Just because even with some of my brothers who haven't worked out in the gym, they will still manhandle me and easily push me across that line. I tried doing arm wrestling. I've been hitting my bicep curls. I've been hitting my skull crushers. Like, I'm jacked. Come on, bro. Like, let's go at it.
Johnny Cage wins.
Snap my wrist in half. There's still nothing that'll allow me to compete against my brothers and to compete against a man. Now, when we talk about safety, there's definitely levels and degrees of that. Like a girl who's a UFC fighter, she's been trained to be able to do that. But even with her build, without that training, she is still gonna get demolished by a dude. That's not a sexist thing. It just is what it is. Biology sucks.
And if you're walking down a dark alley as a woman, you're going to feel some type of way sometimes,
That's
right?
That's why we need guns.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the judicial system. When it comes to, let's say, domestic dispute, if a woman calls the police, they automatically show up, arrest the man. The Duluth Model, I think is how you pronounce it.
The Duluth Model focuses on men who commit the crime of domestic violence and female victims. Its theory is based on the understanding of male power, control, and dominance as culturally and historically pervasive, and which allowed, if not encouraged, men to control women, sometimes using violence. Funny enough, I had a conversation that told my dad that men suffer from physical abuse. And he's like, any dude who suffered from physical abuse by his woman is a punk. He should hit her back. I'm like, well, here's the problem. Which, honestly, equal lefts, equal rights. That's how I feel. I have no problem with a man handling a woman if she's, putting her fists on a man or putting his hands. No one's a punching bag. However, his response was, that man is a punk. And I was like, well, typically when it comes to domestic violence disputes, there are men who get manhandled by women. Woman handled. And when the police show up, they don't take it seriously. Not as seriously as if it was flipped the other way around. Even if the woman was the person who threw the first punch, the understanding that men have to keep their hands to themselves regardless of how a woman acts. But at the end of the day, the law is on her side, and the law is more than likely going to take her side than it is going to take her man's side. When it comes to children, more than likely the law is going to side with the mom. They will completely dismiss the father.
If feminism is all about equality, why would you automatically arrest a man? When they arrest him, his name is in the newspaper automatically. The fact that a woman can say Jane Doe and she doesn't have to put her name out there, what skin in the game is there?
It kind of invalidates the women who do come forward and who have faced rape and sexual assault and all of that, because then it kind of turned into a Twitter hashtag.
That's correct.
Where women were like, oh, you know what? I'm going to join. Like, this seems fun. Like,
for clout.
It's not
for
fun.
clout. I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think the Me Too movement was inherently harmful. It's the Me Too movement when you couple it with something like believe all women. That's when it becomes
and the victimization of women who aren't really victims.
It's an aspect of believe all women, which I don't agree with. Just because you are a woman does not mean that you are believable. I mean, we can look at Amber Heard's case. The Amber Heard Johnny Depp is just a small example of it, but there's been plenty of cases where believe all women, or just because a woman says that something's happened means that we believe them automatically. Even in the law, there is that precedent that's set that is believe all women, but it's funny because there isn't a believe all men. People are people. People gonna lie. And if anything, historically speaking, especially recently, the amount of lies and the amount of reputations that have been completely destroyed because the precedent was set that all women should be believed, it's unfortunate. Because I'm talking off the top of my head, I don't think I know of a time where it was a man destroying a woman's reputation, at least in the public sphere, where her name was blasted and everything, and it turned out to be a complete and total lie, and her reputation was ruined. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Can I have the disagreeer step forward?
I appreciated the distinction of more versus different privileges. You can't just use a broad brush and paint the entire debate and say, all right, well, this is men have more than women, that's it. Like, women that must inherently then have no privileges. That's not how it works. And that's where we start to get into the idea of like intersectionality, where another woman who had a different experience, if it was a trans woman, if it was a woman of color, if it was a woman who was...
But I don't think we're including trans women into feminism.
And I think we definitely should.
I don't think.
Absolutely not. Bruh. Man, people are getting me. I'm getting hot. You cannot include men who decide to change their gender and go under the knife as women. Y'all don't have the experiences, and if for whatever reason, if you didn't get bottom surgery, you can switch and transition back. It's not the same experience. You have a trans woman's experience, but you don't have a woman's experience. That is completely and totally different. And I will argue, as a trans woman, you have a lot more privileges than some women do. Because let's talk about the Leah Thompson situation. You have the ability to compete and destroy women and even take away someone's scholarship. But a woman who speaks up about it are told to shut up and told to take a back seat than the men who masquerade as women. Don't put them in the same category as me. I'm respectful. You do you, boo-boo. But when you start saying that you the same as me, bruh, you are tripping. You are absolutely tripping. I never got a 1-year celebration for being a woman. I never got put on Bud Light, and I don't know any woman who's been put on Bud Light. But we take a man who wants to transition to a woman, we give them a Broadway show, we put them on the front of a beer can, we have them be the champion of like women products and like female feminine products. Like, what is this? No. Bump all that. bump on that. No.
I think that trans women should not be a part of the feminist movement because a man, just because they, wake up and feel like they can be a woman one day, could come in and then suddenly know what it's like to have a period or know what it's like to have a child. It's anything from men replacing women in sports to men replacing women on podcasts during Women's Month and when we're talking about women's health, or you've even got biological men who think they're women going to the White House speaking on behalf of all women.
Speak, my girl. Yes, boo-boo. Yes, boo-boo. It's like infuriating. If you feel like you're a woman or whatever, like personally, I think you're a biological male. You just are masquerading and putting on a face of a female. That's it. That's all you're doing at the end of the day. There are some women who don't have periods. There are some women who don't give birth. So that's not all it is about womanhood. But there is certain things and there's certain aspects of being a woman that a man will never understand and never experience, no matter how many breast implants he gets, no matter how much estrogen pills he takes, no matter if he cuts his penis off. There's nothing that you can do to compare to the women experience. You're not a girl. You're not a dude. You want to transition or whatever, cool. But don't say that you're me, period. It's like the same exact time when people say being black is like being gay. Absolutely the heck it is not. What are you talking about right now?
I say that, yes, there are some privileges that women have that men don't. But also there's privileges that men have that women don't. I don't think women are more privileged in our society because I could get a woman pregnant and I could just run away.
They could get you
Well,
for
they can
child
get you for
support.
child support, which they
Wait,
do.
are you saying she can't run
You
away?
can go to jail.
Are you saying
They
she
could take
can't
your
run
money.
away from the pregnancy?
But you could actually physically leave. I know what you're saying.
At the end of the day, I don't see women having more privileges than men because we don't have the same, there's no way to objectively measure it.
Well, and in the scenario that you pointed out, I mean, if a woman was pregnant, she wouldn't be able to get an abortion in most
In some
parts
states,
of the country.
yes.
Yeah.
In some states,
That's a major disadvantage.
Yeah, but she still has the option of contraception, which there's a lot more contraception options out there for women than there are for men. Yeah, she can get pregnant, but yeah, she also has plenty of opportunities and options available to her to keep herself from getting pregnant if she doesn't want to be. Versus when it comes to men, they don't have that option. They have condom, castration.
What did he say?
They don't have a whole bunch of other options available to them in terms of trying to keep a woman from being pregnant. She can lock him into child support, which I don't necessarily agree with, especially if both parties have decided that they don't want kids and then you decide you do want a kid. I don't think you should lock a dude down for that. But once again, I wouldn't say that that's a more of a privilege, but definitely, like they said, it's different. It's definitely different.
Can I ask you a question, though, or ask the group a question? There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good,
leadership...
that's a good thing.
I know it's
Well, he
weird
was
coming
talking
from
to
me,
me.
but I do want to know, it doesn't bum you out that it's less likely for a woman to become president?
Nah, not really. And this goes down to something that Jordan Peterson said, is that women who typically tend to be at the top tend to be very disagreeable. We could look at the fact that Hillary Clinton is who she is, and she has about 52 close friends who committed suicide. So I don't think that necessarily being at the top as a woman is going to be a really good option. But if that's what you're interested in, if you're interested in becoming the first female president, there's nothing really stopping you from running, from having a great campaign, and from going out and doing that. Just because you're a woman does not mean you're automatically disqualified and people aren't going to vote for you. This also comes down to why I'm really sick and tired of people being very labelistic. Because you're this can't happen, or because you're this, you're going to be oppressed, you're going to be kept down, no one's going to vote for you. It's like, no, if you have good policies, if you have good ways of fixing your country, if you're really passionate about your country, I don't see you not winning. But you also have to have a mindset for that. And a lot of women, I would say, don't have that type of a mindset to be in positions of power. A lot of us don't want to be in positions of power. The ones that do, by all means, go for it. But don't let that be the hallmark for women are oppressed. Women don't have the privileges. We do. We have just the same exact privileges as dudes to go out and to become very powerful and very influential. The thing is that a lot of us just don't want to do it.